Across the tracks. Across the tracks. It's time to go. We're going across the tracks. Across the tracks, Chris Adeney, known as Wax Mannequin, on stage, is our guest today. And so I want to say thanks for coming on.
Hi, Adrian. Thanks for having me on. Pleasure to be here.
You're on tour 2024. We are talking The Red Brain from April release of 2023, and we're going track by track on this. First question I have for you, Chris, really is, can you give me the idea of this album? It was 5 years between this release and the previous release, so go ahead.
Certainly, it's been a collection of songs that I've worked on for a number of years here, and really put them together, finished the writing during, of course, COVID, and so that had an impact on sort of the tonal worldview that maybe I'm building in this collection. And I had a lot of support from Ray Spoon and the label Cokes Records. Ray's a musical artist, but also runs a label named Cokes, and so we collaborated on finding some support and really focusing the theme, the themes of this album, which I found really helpful. And so we're exploring, neurodiversity and just throughout my life, musical career, just being a bit of an outsider and having an outsider's perspective has always shaped my music, and inevitably shaped my social interactions and my life path and trajectory and so that's many of the songs explore that, and that need to connect with others through music or finding different avenues of social connection. And there's sort of larger themes that come up whimsically or through absurdism and through storytelling, just relating to the wider world and its current changes. I think impact a lot of us, especially during the last few years. We've all been very aware of what's going on in the wider sphere and how it affects us personally in our relationships and in our sort of mental well-being.
Well, let's dive into the record here then. There's 9 tracks, and I'm going to go through them in the order, and we'll start with the Obelisk. The Obelisk, clearly a totem, a history that's got symbolism. I think most people know where that's coming. Always a very powerful image. And you start the record with this. And some key lines to me, you say, "We're the last alive," and you say, "We're the last alive," and then you come back with, "I say," and you are talking about surviving. So tell me about this song.
Yeah, I should preface it by saying a lot of my music is on in a sense satirical or meant to be. It's okay to it's humorous. It might get into some weighty apocalyptic themes, but which I think are a natural result of reflecting on where we're at as a civilization. But I think it's always important to laugh at our current plight and thereby get outside of it, maybe steer us towards change. So the song is I guess Adeney described it as sort of science fiction. It's but I think of it more as a magic realism ballad about. I guess there's two stories simultaneously happening. There's the verses are more about personal relationships and how you navigate them when you're maybe neurologically deviant from the norm, deviate from the, not deviant, but deviate from the norm, and then how we sometimes put blinders on to what's happening outside of our immediate relationships. You know, you know, our loves, our families, and the drama and joy that goes on there takes precedent. And sometimes when there's crises in the world, it's we have to put down the blinders, or we feel like we need just to give ourselves the emotional space to respond in a healthy way to our immediate emotional needs and family needs. The urge is, the instinct is to shut out what you know, the wider social concerns that might need our attention. So those are the verses, and then the choruses are this riff that you were kind of you were reciting there. It's imagining. I mean, I take ideas and to find the absurdity, I push them to their logical or narrative extreme, and in that in the choruses we've got post-human civilization, when the plants or the animals have evolved to repopulate the earth. I would say it'd be helpful for us to leave an obelisk recounting all of the things we did, you know, whether it be a stone tablet or some kind of a giant brain inside the earth that could be discovered at a certain point. You know, just telling our story and the joys and passions and mistakes we made along the way, and ultimately where we failed. It could be instructive, or at least entertaining for future civilizations.
All the time, most all the time. Otherwise you're super rude. You're ostracized. You're ostracized. How in the world is supposed to dance it all the time, most all the time? When you got heavy metal guts will crush a lot of toes. What do you do? Say we're the best alive. I say that the seeds and beasts survive. I say that the least of these will writhe and suffer till they die. You and I should leave a garden where the seeds will rise. We'll mark it with an obelisk to remind them of all the stuff we tried. Where streams of metal wine forever flow. Low it bought our home to find the ruby hid amid the stone. Baby, shut the blinds, those pools of scary blood grow, grow and grow. Throw out all the plastic arms and legs the kids have strewn around the cellar floor. I say that the seeds and beasts survive. I say that the best of these will thrive and fight until they fly. seeds and beasts survive. I say that the best of these will thrive, build into the sky. Oh, you and I should leave a message for the beasts to find. Cut into an obelisk, we'll describe all the stuff we tried. You say we're the last alive. I say all the seeds and beasts survive. I say that the best of these will thrive, to build into the sky. Oh, you and I should leave a message for the queen to find. Sing it to the tempest, she'll rewind all the stuff we tried. You say we're the last alive. I say that the seeds and beasts survive. I say that the best of these will thrive, fight until they fly. You and I should leave a message for the beasts to find. Cut into an obelisk to remind them of all the stuff we tried. Oh, and exactly how we died.
Yeah, the idea of humor in your writing, I don't think comes right away. Certainly not to me, and I'm a new listener. I'm a new listener to your music, and this certainly has grabbed my attention because the music is so different from everything. But as I hear you speaking about that, I'm looking forward to going back to listening because you might get this on the road. You travel a ton on the road, and your audiences, from what I read on your Bandcamp, there's a great review from a Jesse Locke, and in your Wikipedia page, they mentioned some from a Globe and Mail, and the audiences battle to find out what it is this guy on stage is doing, because it sounds like an amazing show. You love the road and the live show, and the shows themselves, as you say in your song, even then, still mean more than they ever have. And in the post world of COVID and where we are now, that meaning to you and to your audience. It's kind of a long question, but somewhere in there, people hit the road to say something. So is your meaning getting across to people, and what is the road mean to you?
Wow, yeah, travel it means a lot to me, and reconnecting with the the people I've met, continuing those stories is it's part of the constant draw for me. Yeah, the 20 some odd years of touring that I've done, again, not constant, and these days it's more sporadic. I still tour quite a bit, but it's not the steady pace it was a decade or so ago. But it's been a bit of a journey to find ways to communicate, and find my tribe to a certain extent. And I feel like I write songs that hopefully anyone can relate to, but there's sometimes conventions to break through, especially when you're playing bars or spaces where people just go to drink and dance and whatnot. I think that's part of it, and that's important. But through stories, anyone who's toured long enough will kind of reflect on the moments, whether you're a band or solo, when you feel like you're in perfect communication with the other musicians on stage, perfect communication with the audience. These sort of I don't know, flow state or this feeling of transcendence when everything is right, and you set up this joyous little bubble of communication that that we're all part of, right? And so that's what I've always sought. Sometimes you get glimpses of it early on, and that's part of the allure of playing live is finding this communication. And so over the years, it's just been about setting the in any whether an athlete or any artist or performer or dancer, you can't quite snap your fingers and be in that flow state or that perfect mode of lucidity to perform your art in the way it should be, but you can set up the conditions to try to recreate it. And so I think any fundamentally any performer is after that. There's certainly ego involved, and there's certainly if you're making a career of it, there's financial interests involved. But I think the real why you don't stop and just get a desk job is part of it's just this sense of there's a bigger communication out there, and if you just hit it, it's a bit addictive because some nights you do, and some nights you don't quite get to where you want, but you learn from it and move on. It's not quite definable or describable, but once you're in it, you know it, and that's a big part of the allure of the road. But constant change is nice. Some people are wired for. Some people are migratory beasts, and I think I'm certainly more lean into that when I can. The constant change and travel and figuring out how new places work. That song you mentioned is, I guess lyrically it came out of the frustration not being able to do that, play live when we're locked down for good reasons. There's still frustration in putting your life on hold. I think we all feel that. We all felt that when we're forced to put our life on hold, whether to and remember the importance of it and just try to hang on to what was real, what was important about what we were doing before. And maybe that's getting a day job and putting your art on hold. It's still, if you have that passion outside of work and have to set it aside, or there's bigger, far more important things like having a family, and you have to set aside, wayward ambition to take care of some kids, then there's still a bit of that longing and remembering and that sense that one day I'll find that again. Indefinable thing, the communication.
We are fine for now. I can't imagine how there'll be times when we won't meet. Some of what you've heard, some all of what I've seen. No one tells how it could be.
there's nothing like family, of course, that's going to bring you back. The idea of financial interests often means that you do go to a day job, and I see that at some place you were a teacher, and the song Sick Boy seems to speak to some of your experience in the classroom, both as the student and then as the teacher. And if you also you could maybe just comment as to the writer of the song, because there's really a very interesting style of music, an Eastern kind of instrumentation and music going on Sick Boy.
Yeah, Raghu Lokanathan wrote the original Sick Boy. He's a folk, I guess you call him folk performer out in British Columbia. A strange and really compelling songwriter out there. A lot of people discover his music and find a place for one or two of his songs in their set. And that's a bit of a collaborative, right? That one, I'm gonna, with a bit of back and forth with Raghu, I guess, like any good folk song, I think it can, they breathe and change over time, or there's different versions of them. So I think with Raghu's blessing, we kind of did a bit of collaboration on some of the lyrics there, and but it's certainly I encourage people to track down the original because it's better, and it's just nice that I got Raghu on board to work with me on that, and included on the record. Yeah, but it fits thematically. I thought it fit right in with the records, with its interests in neurodiversity in brains and in the cataclysmic worldview that I sometimes have fun with. It really speaks to me. I'm always about the intersection between the personal and the universal, and that's what it's all about. It's a funny song too. I mean, if you have that kind of grim sense of humor.
One kid threw up in the classroom while the other kids were laughing. The sick boy's face got all twisted as he spun around and yelled, "It ain't funny." But I guess that the rest of us thought it was. Yeah, I guess that the rest of us thought it was. First, they murdered the teacher. Next, they butchered the lesson. And then, they chewed up the language. And last, they swallowed the world. This one kid threw open the shutters while the other kids lay gasping. The window kid said we should leave here and escape the choking fumes together. But I guess that the rest of us chose to stay. Yeah, I guess that the rest of us chose to stay. First, they'll cut down a mountain. Next, they'll churn the wide ocean. And then, they'll brew up a poison. At last, they'll probably learn. First, they cut down a mountain. Next, they churn the wide ocean. And then, they brewed up a poison. At last, they were ready to learn. At last, they were ready to learn. At last, we were ready to learn. We were ready to learn.
You had mentioned about songs that live and breathe, kind of your remake of Sick Boy. And then I learned that Things to Do with Rage, which again is a really very interesting idea, and that song is over 20, 23 years old, and so you've revisited that. And directly, my question would be, in those 20 years, do you feel like the world has gone into, I don't know, if rage might be, we're not quite rage, but there's more rage, let's put it that way. And that song, its lifespan, from when you wrote it to the way it shows up on Red Brain, its evolution. Talk to that.
Sure. You really have done your research, and I really I appreciate that. I'm flattered. Yeah, it's one of the first songs I wrote, as a 19-year-old, 18-year-old. I made its way on my first record, and wrote it out of sort of post-adolescent angst, and I think it holds true, especially now as our rage is at every opportunity weaponized, or some would try to weaponize our rage and misdirect it here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, and I guess it's I don't know how literally you need to take it, but it's about how you focus, how you cope with those stronger emotions when you just have to get on with life, when really indulging in strong emotion could be debilitating, or seen as it can close certain doors, right? If you're and especially as a guy in that era, at that age, there's complex messaging about how what the appropriate way to direct and express emotions are with masculinity. So there's a certain irony to that song too, or certain satire, I think, in just focusing on rage specifically, because this very masculine, conventionally masculine emotion that is supposed to be, informing us and fueling us into rational and competent grown-ups. And when I hear blabbermouths like Jordan Peterson or something going off on how to become an effective man, and then if one follows that trail of breadcrumbs, you end up being turning into, or I guess the ideal would be someone quite bigoted or stuffy or limited, emotionally limited. I think that in my thoughts, my interpretation of the song has kind of come around full circle. Take that as you will. I'm not sure if we should name drop the unnameable, but I guess that's where it resonates for me.
There's a lot you can do with rage. There's a lot you can do with rage. Take it, make it like a game, a small puzzle or toy train, where the engineer has got crazy eyes all glowing. Many things I have done with rage. Never once has it ever shone bright blue. There's a guy inside, he keeps it, and then he takes There's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do with rain. There's a lot you can do with rage. Take it, make a few new things with old scraps and some used strings. You can build up a small machine. You can build a factory or two factories. Many things I have done with grace. Never once has it ever shone bright blue. There's a guy inside, he keeps it low. And then he takes it himself.
Well, Rage is a hunter, I suppose, and love. We get a love song, kind of, with the next song. There, I find it interesting that the one song follows the other in the record. Love is a hunter follows, and then you also had mentioned off the top that it's also a cover song of a collaborator on this record, Ray Spoon and Coke's Records. Is this a love song?
It's one of my favorite songs by Ray, and yeah, Ray was really instrumental in helping put the pieces in place for this record, and thought, as you say, it really fits nicely in with the themes of the record. I'm not one who I have a few love songs, but they don't. They're not my natural element. So I thought it was nice to be able to work with Ray on that. Just check out Ray's version. It's beautiful, and Ray's music. But yeah, it was. I mean, to me, a record is about a story, even if it's not, a conventional narrative. It should, it should have a beginning, middle, and end that you feel changed. You're taken on a journey, along the way. And so I thought that song fit nicely into the more contemplative places that I go to on the record. Love is a hunter. Yeah, I mean, it's a truth. I think there's a lot of truth in that, and how love and other things creep up on us and kind of take us places we wouldn't have. I guess thinking back to my relationship, the primary in my life before I had kids was with my partner Heather, and yeah, how just looking back how much that changed the course of my priorities, changed the course of my life, changed my priorities, and it also informed my practice as a maker of things too. So yeah, it does take you over, consumes you, and for years, and often very cynical about love, because I have a different tact on emotions generally, and their importance in our thinking, but they can certainly steer us.
You won't see it until it's too late. Rolling from you in some unnamed way. Love is a hunter. Love is a hunter. Love is a hunter. It's coming for you. You. I never told you, but it burned me every day. I didn't want to risk my imaginary place.
when you write your music, when you write your songs, do you write the songs already with an idea that they're going to fit into an album theme?
Yeah, I have a lot of songs on the go usually at once, and sometimes when I'm starting an album, I just pick from the ones that are finished and think, well, that's enough to do an album. But usually there's a good number that I can kind of cherry pick and put together, knowing and hoping that they'll have sort of resonance with one another. I think yeah, I mean, I go into the Red Brain is the closest thing I've ever made to a concept album, like going in knowing that there's certain themes I wanted to express and be able to talk about once it was released. So yeah, in a sense, it's a concept record. A lot of those songs I had written or partly written, not knowing, what the theme of the record would be going into it, but I was able to. But they ended up dovetailing perfectly with my thinking, and a lot of the writing happened in the process as well of changing the songs as the meaning became clear. I mean, it's also important, of course, probably it's clear that I don't expect to have one clear reading or interpretation of any given song. I think I'm just as with musical collaborators, it's important to me to go in. I like to go in knowing what I want, or have certain melodies or certain kind of production concepts in mind, but that collaboration is incredibly important to me. I want to, and even when we play it live, I'm never going to be one to want to reproduce a record exactly or note for note. I always tell musicians in rehearsal to kind of make it their own, or you don't have to play it the way Aidan Campbell played it, or you don't have to play it the way Bradford played it on Red Brain. Make it your own, and obviously encourage listeners, audiences to do that too. I think it's really, really resonant and ripe to have people, finding something personal in the songs that it's almost a cliche at this point, because hopefully, lots of artists would say that you're going to interpret a song your own way, but I think that's very true for what I do. I have an idea of what I want the song to express, but people will interpret it as they will.
Yeah, of course. That's the power of the music. You're writing. You got the great line in the song "Reasons" that we're going to play now. Truth up to power, and of course, truth is under savage attack these days, it seems. But the album, this album, again, as I said earlier, I'm not familiar with your entire catalog, and I look forward to getting into it. But I certainly hear that that's where you're going when you write on Red Brain. It's at least it's not your truth, because truth is not mine or yours. Truth is everyone's, and there's a frantic feeling in this song about that attack that is happening in this day and age.
Wow. Yeah. I guess I think of it as a bit of a, I don't know, call to action, but find truth up to power, and reason. The idea of reason too is weaponized. I mean, if I listen to the podcast sphere, I hear many diametrically opposed mouthpieces that try to spell out perfectly rational arguments for completely absurd and dangerous, ideologies, or I referenced people like Jordan Peterson, and this whole idea of audience captures is a really fascinating phenomenon. You have these independently minded, rebellious, maverick personality cults, so interested in breaking through the gloss, the media disinformation that they and proclaiming some kind of reason and rationality that they end up being beholden to their audience's rage meter, right? the more clickbaity their opinions on, COVID or clickbaity their opinions on gender issues that have nothing to do with them, the more people tune in, and the more it becomes a hustle, and that's just the hustle and the coercion of the modern post-media landscape is really compelling and kind of terrifying. And so, I guess in a song like that, there's a lot of energy in it, and want to get out on the streets, but it's a bit of a lament to lamenting the loss of a concrete sense of truth, a shared sense of reality. Like, we're ever gonna get that back? Are we gonna get, right or wrong, whether I almost think back to sort of the 90s and with Adbusters and whatnot, that whole era beginning to be critical of the American media monopolies. There's a certain nostalgia for that. It's like we had this shared sense of truth, and yeah, it was in many ways evil and destructive. But but now it's sort of shattered in so many pieces. It's getting so tribal and volatile. Can we ever get back to maybe a more authentic shared sense of truth? I think I like to lean into the optimism and hope that we can, but I think it's going to be pretty necessary.
the world and the worldview that people have access now to expressing all of their opinions and what is real and what isn't real. People don't do the proper research. Whatever they feel seems to become what is the reality of things, and to own up to having an opinion and changing that opinion with proper investigation of that opinion, and to say something like, I was wrong about you, is a form of courage that seems to have evaporated. And on your song, Wrong About You, the teacher has the student, and the student, who knows what goes on in their life back at home. The teacher gets 20, 30, 40 in a class, coming from such diverse backgrounds and who knows what. And that microcosm of the classroom is like the whole world, it seems. And it doesn't seem, though, that on the whole that we're wrong about it, but clearly it's always there, right? I mean, we can be wrong about certain things, but the point, I guess, is we have to do the homework.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think that's, as an educator, I think it should be on my mind. Any educator hopefully would tell you that they're that carrying that doubt with you is pretty important, especially when you're interacting with students and you're liable to typify them or make assumptions or have biases going into it. And with certain behaviors, like we all have been in classrooms that have been great and have been in classrooms that are probably pretty traumatizing. So I think when a teacher really gets you, or at least is open to being wrong, having been wrong, having made presumptions about you based on your student record, or your the previous teacher, your parents, who they are, or what other kids have said about you. I mean, it's life is, we're always defining ourselves, trying to align who we present ourselves as. We're trying to align it who we feel like we are and want to be internally. And I think as a teacher, it's really important to facilitate that and allow kids that space to define themselves, but be read in an authentic way. Like, give them every opportunity to be seen as their authentic selves without biases. And when it comes to learning, that song's somewhat about having neurodiversity in the classroom, or neuroatypical students. In modern teaching, amount of pedagogy, we have to wear all hats and be a jack of all trades, and I think that's a good thing, like to program for and provide programming and educational opportunities for people, for everyone who has a range of ability, range of cognition, different strengths. And I think we've all been there, been in a classroom with a teacher that doesn't get us, or refuses to get us, and it can be pretty hurtful to a developing person to be stuck with someone for a year who refuses to consider who you actually are, who you might be, or hangs on to these preconceptions. So I get worried when there's this modern media discourse around it's kind of leaning back into these biases and that we've been trying to shake off for hundreds of years.
was wrong about you. Just a second now, you just let touches me, they were wrong about. Either silent cold, here's a modern sex, something that you hold, there's a satisfaction. Your eye noises you make in the cellar, light of your melodies. See the lightest word, that's your consciousness. See it everywhere, that's a party. Beautiful place where you drink it tonight and shine. And align with a sacred geometry. I was wrong about you. I was wrong about you. There's an intricate thing that you do. Yeah, I was wrong about you. I was wrong about you. I was wrong about you. Got a reason for this girl because you never wrong about.
I'm interested to know too where you were for the idea of Red Brain and that spark that said, "There's my album, it's Red Brain, and these are the concepts." So take me back to that moment of inspiration.
Well, during the pandemic, I had this internet show where I'd go on and tell stories, and it was called the Red Brain Show. And I was sort of already writing the song at that point, or had written it, the Red Brain, and it just was a little. The song came out of this apocalyptic, but absurdist apocalyptic kind of notion of a almost Lovecraftian beast, but that is a giant red brain with a face descending, and giving you, listener, giving you the opportunity to choose, rather than just wiping the slate clean, and slaughtering millions. They give you the cruelest job on earth, and that is to choose how to rebuild civilization, and choose who lives and who doesn't, and which seeds to water and which ones to let wither, because that would be for most of us, all but the most maybe narcissistic or sociopathic, that'd be incredibly painful experience to anyone with an ounce of compassion would have a hard time weeding out or choosing which ideas. And as a creator, you can relate which ideas, which do you feed, which melodies that become songs, and which end up just sitting on the voice recorder until you lose the thing, or your backup hard drive crashes, and then you think, well, remember that song I could have written? What would that have been like? How would that have resonated when I play it on stage, or would it have been sung around a campfire? Yeah, I wish I finished that song.
At last you got back home as the car broke down in the cold. No one came around to greet you or help, but a red mind clouds above you, hovered in the night sky, then swirled around, around, around. Speaking thought to thought, that shining brain told you stuff. You said your friends and folks and everyone were gone, all compressed down into tiny seeds now, dormant for the winter time. The spring comes. Whoa, whoa. Which ones will you water first? Which ones will you leave to die? Which ones will corrupt the earth? The plant ones are the wee ones. Red brain gonna scorch the earth. Red brain will consume the sky. Red brain way before your birth. It made you like your mother did. This one took a wizard curse. This one gave a stifled cry. This one tries to escape to run and hide. Speaking mind to mind, that fucking brain gave you stuff, like a bunch of seeds and plant food and juice. But as the spring comes, so many souls need planting. You got one chance to make it, but you got things to decide. Like, which ones will you water first? Which ones will you leave to die? Which ones will corrupt the earth? The plant ones are the wee ones. Which ones will you keep up caged? Which ones will you set to fly? Which ones will you big and save? The fat ones are the meaty ones. Red brain goes scorch the earth. Red brain will corrupt the sky. Red brain way before your birth. Made you like your daddy did. This one gives a wizard curse. This one gives a stifled cry. This one tries to escape and run and hide. Red brain gonna scorch the earth. Red brain will consume the sky. Red brain here before your birth. It made you like your daddy did. Which ones will you water first? Which ones will you leave to die? Which ones will corrupt the earth? The plant ones are the wee ones. Red brain gonna scorch the earth. Red brain will consume the sky. Red brain way before your birth. It made you like your mother did. This one takes a wizard curse. This one gives a stifled cry. This one lets escape to run. Someone's honest work is someone else's lethargy. Brambles wrapped around and scrambled your mind. It's hard to know just what they want from you or who to trust. It's just so much silent language gets lost. But that red brain is gonna keep a channel open. It's gonna make all your decisions, so just lay back and take it slow. Red brain gonna scorch the earth. Red brain will consume the sky. Red brain here before your birth. It made you like your daddy did. Which ones will you water first? Which ones will you leave to
finish the album with Not the Worst It Gets, which indicates that it's going to get worse. So, do you really think it's going to get worse, or how does it get better? Is probably a better question here.
There's a couple ways to think about think about that. I mean, again, it's sometimes it's funny to think about double meanings of things, but I know that in very cycles of depression, there's it gets pretty bad, and on your way out, though, it's still pretty bad. It takes time to come out. At the deepest point, there's nothing has any joy or any interest or any purpose. And day by day, month by month, you can reflect back on how bad it gets. It's not as bad as it was. I know it's still bad, but I've done this before. I've come out of this many times, and I know I'll come out of this again, and that even it might slip. Next month I may be back in the pits, but it's not going to be as bad as it was. I'll probably get there again, but now it's getting better. Like the cycles of a year, we know we're gonna come out the other side eventually, and so there's kind of an optimism in there that I like to hang on to. I think. Thanks. That's the second reading of that line that I think is a bit funnier and more optimistic.
This is not the worst it gets. This is not the worst it gets. Not the worst it gets. The Yukon sun rose up a bit on an icy copper track. It already seems about to set, but at least you got a look. Just hang on that. I'd hang on that. This is not the worst it gets. I did not mean to turn my back. Not the worst it gets. Scrambled up an icy track, determined to be fine. Never noticed there were other ones. Wouldn't make it back in time. They'll be alright. Maybe they'll be alright. This is not the worst it gets. Fold your palms into a map. Not the worst it gets. Found the key beneath the mat. Same old house strewn with trash. The power's out, the wood is ash. You can pass out on my couch. This is not the worst it gets. Blocked the door, secured the latch. Not the worst it gets. You can hear the howls and fingers scratch. Morning comes at last. Well, the quiet's louder than the crash. Ring it in your mind, or let it die. Just let it die. This is not the worst it gets. Follow where your money went. Not the worst it gets. Is it buried deep or gone and spent on the guilty days in bed? On the pills and all that cognac, all the bore stuff you wrecked. You'll give it back. I'd give it back. This is not the worst it gets. Quietly you've been calling it not the worst it gets. The cellar safe room lights a crack, 'cause you've done half of the work. And the witching hours are getting short. Maybe you will forget you're not alright. I wouldn't be alright. This is not the worst it gets. An understated jubilance, not the worst it gets. Some long forgiven moral debt, a white moon circles round, an implied or imagined sound echoes every form. Notice this. 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 Oh, notice this.
There's one thing too that I absolutely have to ask you about is the visual arts, because it sounds like your show is very much a visual, not just sonic, and I certainly see it in the artwork for the albums. So tell me the importance of the visual arts to your sound, if I could put it that way.
It's a neat question. I have projections that go with my show. Some of them I put together. Others, friends of mine, put together. Peter Michael Wilson, or friend Animals Eating Animals out of the States. Some collaborators, and I'm always, I guess it'd be nice. I'd like to be at a point where I can key the visuals specifically to the songs. At this point, it's more of a pastiche, or more of a just there's natural resonances between what I'm playing and what's being projected. And I don't always use them. It depends on the venue and the vibe. I started in art school and got distracted after second year, and that's when my buddy Joey said, he came back from 3 months scrambling adventure out west and across Canada. He said, "I got to book you a tour, Wax." And I wasn't sure because I had to finish school. And I ended up going back and finishing, but took a detour and got hooked on playing the shows and writing songs. But as I go on, I try to integrate more of my rekindle sort of a visual art practice as I go through with whether it's the merch I'm designing or sculptures that go with that I turn into candles and sell at the shows and that sort of thing. So visuals. My songs are very visual to me, very sculptural. That's the way I think of production. So I point taken.
Well, it is a wax mannequin, very visual. We all know what that is. So, Chris Adeney, I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and talking about the music and a little bit about Red Brain.
Thank you. Thank you.
And asking some really neat questions. And yeah, I look forward to crossing paths. Maybe maybe in Sault Ste. Marie, maybe down the road somewhere. But certainly, let's keep in touch.
Okay, sir. I appreciate that. I apologize for the scramble of the whole thing, but hats off. You pulled it off. Total pro. We've gone across the tracks. This has been a Borderline Entertainment production.